In the sprawling, sun-baked expanse of the Arizona territory, where the very air shimmered with the heat of the relentless sun and the dust devils danced across an unforgiving landscape, life was a constant, brutal negotiation. Here, amidst the parched earth and endless horizons, a profound desperation had driven a family to an unthinkable, agonizing choice. Their young daughter, a silent Apache girl, still a child, had never uttered a single word, her voice held captive by a world she perceived with an acute, yet unspoken wisdom. In a moment born of dire hunger and the stark absence of any other hope, they bartered her away for a mere, paltry sack of flour, a meager provision that promised only temporary reprieve from their gnawing starvation. It was a transaction that spoke volumes of a life devoid of ordinary happiness, where the concept of wealth was measured solely in survival, and joy was an almost forgotten luxury. Just as this heartbreaking exchange unfolded beneath the vast, indifferent sky, a lone cowboy rode into view, his silhouette stark against the burning horizon. He was a man of the land, accustomed to solitude and the silent language of the wilderness, his presence as much a part of the desolate scenery as the gnarled mesquite trees. He witnessed the entire poignant spectacle from a distance, close enough to discern the raw, desperate fear etched on the faces of the family, and the profound, silent plea in the wide, startled eyes of the small girl. As her parents reluctantly turned her over to strangers, her gaze, filled with an uncomprehending terror, instinctively found his. In that fleeting, wordless moment, across the vast emptiness of the desert, an inexplicable connection was forged, a silent acknowledgement of her plight and his unexpected presence. The scene hung heavy in the air, a testament to the unvarnished realities of the frontier, a narrative woven from threads of human struggle and unexpected compassion. Such moments, raw and unadorned, hold an immense power, resonating deep within the heart and carrying a quiet wisdom that transcends spoken language. They remind us of the enduring strength of the human spirit, the profound emotional wealth contained in shared experiences, and the persistent, if sometimes elusive, search for a flicker of happiness even in the bleakest of circumstances. These are the narratives that whisper across generations, stories that, by their very nature, invite us to listen, to feel, and to perhaps recognize the echoes of our own humanity within their profound depths, beckoning us to understand the silent courage that shapes destinies. The desert wind carried the dust, but it could not erase the image seared into the cowboy's mind. He was a man accustomed to solitude, to the harsh realities of the frontier, where emotions were often a burden rather than a comfort. Yet the sight of the little girl, traded for a sack of flour, resonated with a profound injustice that even his hardened spirit could not ignore. Her wide, frightened eyes, mirroring a silent plea, pierced through his usual reserve. He felt a deep unease, an unfamiliar stirring that compelled him to act. It was not mere pity, but a sense of responsibility, a quiet conviction that this was not how a life, especially a young one, should begin or continue. He couldn't just ride away and leave her to a fate he instinctively knew would be bleak. With a resolve that surprised even himself, he reined in his horse and approached the family. His voice, usually gruff and direct, was surprisingly gentle as he offered assistance, though what form that assistance would take, he wasn't entirely sure. He simply knew he had to do something. The transaction had been completed, the sack of flour taken, but he offered to take the girl, to provide a home where she might find safety, if not immediate happiness. There was no wealth to speak of in his offer, only the promise of a roof and a steady hand. The family, weary and resigned, saw the earnestness in his eyes and perhaps a glimmer of hope for their daughter. They gave her over, a silent farewell passing between them. The journey to his isolated ranch was long and quiet. The girl sat small and still in front of him on the saddle, her slight weight a new presence in his solitary existence. The vastness of the Arizona landscape, usually a source of comfort, now seemed to emphasize the enormity of the task he had undertaken. His ranch, a cluster of rough-hewn buildings nestled against the rugged foothills, was his sanctuary, but it was hardly set up for a child, let alone one who could not speak. He was adept at managing livestock, repairing fences, and surviving the elements, but caring for a mute child was a challenge entirely outside his realm of experience. There was no guidebook for this, no seasoned rancher wisdom to draw upon. As they rode, the silence between them was heavy, yet not entirely devoid of potential. He felt no immediate surge of joy, but rather a quiet determination. He knew he had to learn how to communicate with her, how to understand her needs without the benefit of words. It was a daunting prospect, a test of his patience and his capacity for empathy. He wondered about her past, about the life she had known before this jarring exchange. What wisdom could he offer her, a child stripped of her voice and family, and what, in turn, might she in her silence teach him? The path ahead was uncertain, filled with unknown hurdles, but he had committed to it. He brought her not into a life of immediate luxury or boundless happiness, but into a life of stability, safety, and the quiet promise of a future where her true voice, whatever it might be, could eventually be heard. The first days at the secluded ranch were steeped in a profound, unsettling silence. The vast emptiness of the Arizona desert seemed to echo within the small cabin, amplifying the quietude that had settled between the cowboy and the young girl. She moved like a shadow, her small frame wary, her eyes constantly scanning, yet utterly devoid of the usual sparkle of childhood. Distrust clung to her like dust from the trail, a visible barrier that the cowboy, a man accustomed to the straightforward honesty of the land, found himself struggling to navigate. He spoke little, sensing that words were not only useless but potentially threatening. Instead, he focused on action, simple gestures meant to convey safety and sustenance. He cleared a small corner for her, offered plain but nourishing food, and ensured a continuous supply of fresh water from the well. He kept his distance, respecting the invisible wall she had erected, understanding that trust, like a desert bloom, could not be forced but had to be coaxed into existence. Every morning, as the sun began its slow ascent, painting the rugged landscape in hues of ochre and gold, the cowboy would observe her from a respectful distance. She never ventured far, but she would often sit by the cabin's weathered porch, her small back against a rough-hewn post, her gaze fixed on the horizon. It was here in these unhurried moments that a different facet of her began to subtly reveal itself. She wasn't merely looking, she was absorbing, her senses acutely attuned to the world around her in a way he had never witnessed in another human being. He watched as her head would tilt almost imperceptibly, as if catching a whisper on the wind, a sound too faint for his ears. She would follow the darting flight of a roadrunner with an unwavering focus, her breath perhaps slowing in perfect rhythm with its movements. The rustle of dry brush, the distant cry of a hawk circling high above, the soft thud of a rabbit hopping through the sparse vegetation, these were not just ambient noises to her. They were complex language, a continuous narrative unfolding before her, and she understood its every nuance. The cowboy realized with a quiet sense of awe that her voice was not absent, it simply did not reside in words. It was in the way she listened, in the profound connection she held with every living thing, in a unique form of wisdom that flowed through her without needing utterance. She seemed to possess an innate wealth of understanding about the natural world, a perceptive depth that transcended verbal communication. There was a subtle joy in her quiet observations, a pure, unadulterated contentment that radiated from her small being as she absorbed the intricate patterns of life around her. He watched her trace invisible lines in the dust with a twig, mimicking the path of an ant, or simply sit perfectly still as a lizard basked nearby, seemingly unfazed by her presence. This profound attunement to the desert's rhythms hinted at a happiness that was not loud or expressed through laughter, but a deep, internal resonance with the pulse of existence itself. It was a silent conversation, a bond with the land and its creatures that was far richer than any words could convey, and the cowboy, though still distant, began to feel a burgeoning sense of respect for the remarkable spirit he had brought into his isolated life. He was not just providing a home, he was witnessing a different kind of flourishing, a silent symphony of life being played out through her senses, a testament to an intuitive wisdom that was both ancient and deeply moving. The initial days at the secluded ranch had been a landscape of quiet understanding, but as weeks turned into months, something profound began to shift. The cowboy, accustomed to the solitude of the vast Arizona plains, found himself navigating a new kind of silence, one that wasn't empty but filled with unspoken communication. He approached the little girl with steadfast gentleness, his movements deliberate, his presence a quiet assurance. He didn't rush her. Instead, he simply offered, leaving small, smooth stones for her to arrange or a stick near soft earth, subtly inviting interaction. He learned that patience was a language in itself. Through his consistent, tender gestures, a fragile trust, like spring grass after winter, slowly began to emerge. It wasn't a sudden breakthrough, but a gradual unfolding, a delicate dance of unspoken invitations and hesitant acceptances. Her eyes, once filled with apprehension, now held fleeting moments of curiosity, a glimmer of connection. He discovered her world was rich with meaning, conveyed not through words but through eloquent observation and artistic expression. The girl possessed an extraordinary ability to perceive her surroundings, a deep wisdom beyond her tender years. She would spend hours tracing patterns in the dusty earth near the ranch house, her small fingers creating intricate designs that seemed to tell stories. These weren't random doodles, they were deliberate, often mirroring the flight of a hawk or the swirling patterns of the wind. The cowboy, sitting a respectful distance away, watched as she meticulously crafted these sand drawings, each line a testament to her unique perception. It was a revelation, a silent narrative unfolding. Through these visual tales, she revealed an acute awareness of the desert's rhythms, an intuitive understanding of its secrets. He started to see the world through her eyes, noticing subtle shifts in light and nature's intricate details. Her keen observations extended beyond the immediate landscape. She would watch the ranch animals with an intensity that suggested a deep, empathetic connection. There was a quiet happiness in her focused attention, a simple joy in seeing and understanding. The cowboy realized her silence was not an absence, but a different kind of presence, one that enriched his own solitary existence. He wasn't just caring for her, he was learning from her. Her unique perspective, finding beauty and meaning in the mundane, was a true wealth of understanding he had never encountered. It was a profound lesson in how much could be communicated without a single uttered word, a testament to the idea that true connection transcends verbal boundaries. He found himself not only providing for her but also being nourished by her quiet strength and the silent wisdom she embodied, a beautiful nonverbal exchange building a bridge between their two very different worlds. As autumn's colors faded, a fierce, relentless cold gripped the Arizona landscape, transforming it into a stark, frozen expanse. Winter descended upon the isolated ranch, testing their very will to survive. Heavy snow intensified their profound isolation, muffling all sound. Resources, never abundant, dwindled alarmingly fast. Food and firewood disappeared quickly, each day bringing new anxieties. The biting wind howled incessantly, seeping through every cabin crack, making warmth a constant, desperate pursuit. The cowboy, accustomed to the land's challenges, faced a new despair. Water sources froze, pathways became impassable. He worried constantly about the young girl, her small frame fragile against the elements. The cold gnawed at their provisions, a silent, growing threat. Days blurred into a monotonous cycle of staying warm, conserving food, and melting snow for water, consuming precious firewood. The winter's deep silence was broken only by the dwindling fire or the wind's mournful cry. It was during these dire circumstances that the girl, though voiceless, demonstrated a profound, ancient wisdom. She possessed an innate understanding of the frozen earth, a connection to nature the cowboy could not grasp. She spent long moments observing the snow-covered land, tracking subtle wind shifts or imperceptible creature movements. Her silent, precise observations were intricate messages, a unique communication the cowboy, driven by necessity and burgeoning trust, slowly learned to decipher. One grim morning, with water barrels empty and the well frozen, a critical situation arose. Desperation etched itself onto the cowboy's face. Without water, survival chances plummeted. The girl, sensing his distress, took his hand, tugging gently, her gaze fixed on a distant, snow-laden ridge. She led him not towards the frozen well but in a different direction, through deep drifts and icy terrain. Her movements were purposeful, steps light yet firm, as if guided by an unseen force. He followed, initially skeptical, but dwindling options left him no choice. After a long trek, she stopped abruptly near ice-covered willows, pointing to a small, almost invisible crevice in the rocks. There, shielded beneath an overhang, was a trickle of clear, unfrozen water, seeping from the earth. It was a lifeline, a miracle in the frozen wilderness, found through her unerring intuition. A wave of profound relief washed over the cowboy, a quiet joy that spoke volumes. Her intuitive wisdom proved invaluable again when a blizzard trapped them indoors, threatening their last firewood reserves. The girl, restless, pointed towards a faint, buried trail. She led him to a hidden grove of deadfall trees, meticulously selecting dry, suitable branches. She seemed to know precisely where to find efficient fuel and how to spot naturally protected areas. It was as if the land whispered its secrets, and she shared that wealth of knowledge. Through her silent guidance, they gathered enough wood to keep the fire burning, staving off the bitter cold. These acts, born from her deep connection to the environment, transcended mere survival. They forged an even deeper bond, a silent understanding growing with each challenge. The cowboy realized that true wealth lay in resilience, in connection, and in the profound, unspoken wisdom that could guide one through the darkest of times, leading them towards a quiet, enduring form of happiness. Her unique way of navigating the world was becoming their greatest asset, a silent beacon in the relentless winter. As the harsh grip of winter finally loosened its hold on the Arizona landscape, a gentle warmth began to seep into the parched earth. The air, once sharp and biting, softened, carrying the sweet scent of blooming desert flora. For the cowboy and the young girl, the arrival of spring was more than just a change in season. It was a profound shift, a quiet unveiling of new understanding. The long, isolated winter had tested their limits, revealing hidden strengths in both of them. It was during these first tender days of spring that the cowboy began to see the girl in an entirely new light. He had spent months trying to understand her, to find a way to bridge the chasm of silence between them. He had sought words, sounds, anything that resembled conventional communication. But as the world around them reawakened, so too did his perception. He watched her move, a creature of quiet grace, observing the world with an intensity that few adults possessed. She didn't speak with her mouth, but her presence was a constant, eloquent whisper. He realized then, with a clarity that felt like a revelation, that her voice was not one of words. It was the way she was, the profound and undeniable influence she had on everything around her. It was in the calm way she interacted with the skittish wild horses, in the subtle guidance she offered during the winter's trials, in the sheer force of her unique spirit. This realization brought him a deep sense of peace, a quiet joy that settled in his weary heart. There was an immeasurable wealth in this silent understanding, a richness that transcended any material possession. He no longer felt the urgent need to fix her silence, but rather to embrace it, to learn from it. And with the return of the vibrant life to the desert, a new form of expression blossomed within the girl. She had always been attuned to her surroundings, gathering small treasures, smooth river stones, gnarled branches. Now, with the softening earth, she began to arrange them. On the flat, sun-baked ground near the cabin, she would meticulously lay out intricate patterns. Using pebbles of varying sizes and colors, delicate dried grasses, and carefully chosen twigs, she crafted scenes. These were not random assemblages, they were deliberate, thoughtful compositions. The cowboy would watch, fascinated, as she created miniature landscapes, animal figures, or abstract designs that seemed to pulse with meaning. Each arrangement was a silent narrative, a visual poem. Sometimes he thought he could discern the story of a lone wolf's hunt, or the journey of a migrating bird, or perhaps even the memory of a distant thunderstorm. He understood that these creations were her stories, her thoughts, her feelings, woven into the very fabric of the earth. Through these simple, natural art pieces, she was communicating with a profound depth that words often failed to achieve. It was a new language, one he was slowly learning to read. There was an undeniable wisdom in her approach, a primal connection to the earth that allowed her to convey complex ideas without uttering a single sound. He found himself looking forward to seeing what new story the earth would tell through her hands each day. This was her true voice, a silent symphony of meaning, bringing a quiet happiness to their secluded lives. The harshness of the past was receding, replaced by the gentle unfolding of a shared understanding, a new chapter written not in ink but in stone, branch, and silence. The local community, scattered across Arizona, initially viewed the cowboy and the silent Apache girl with curiosity and deep distrust. Her isolated ranch and wordless presence stirred apprehension. Whispers about her past and mute nature circulated, leading to misinterpretations and reinforcing wariness. Frontier life, while valuing resilience, bred suspicion of the unfamiliar. However, as seasons turned, a subtle shift began in the community's perception, a slow dawning of understanding. The cowboy's occasional excursions brought her into infrequent contact with neighbors during supply runs or shared duties. In these moments, her true nature quietly emerged, challenging initial assumptions. Her profound kindness and nonverbal intelligence became evident. She possessed innate generosity, offering practical help without being asked. She might gently assist a child with a heavy load or point out a misplaced tool. Her perceptive eyes missed little. Her actions showed a genuine desire to help. These acts of compassion chipped away apprehension. Her unique attributes illuminated a deep, intuitive wisdom of the world. Those open to seeing recognized a profound joy in her simple expressions, a quiet contentment radiating from her. This appreciation for her abilities spread among a select few. They realized true wealth lay beyond possessions, residing in human connection. Through her spirit, she taught them empathy bridged any gap. She proved kindness a universal tongue, felt deeply through selfless acts. The community slowly realized she was more than just the mute Apache girl. She was a quiet force of good. This respect, born from her profound influence, gradually secured her a valued place within the rugged, yet accepting frontier community. The dry Arizona landscape was a tinderbox. One sweltering afternoon, a subtle shift in the air caught the girl's attention. Her calm eyes flickered with intense awareness. She paced restlessly, head tilted, listening to a silent alarm only she perceived. The cowboy initially dismissed her agitation, but her insistence grew, her small hand pulling his arm, her gaze fixed on the distant neighboring ranch. An undeniable urgency and intuitive knowing spoke louder than words. Her premonition was a silent warning. Suddenly a faint, acrid smell reached him, then a thin plume of smoke. Her warning was confirmed. A fire had erupted, threatening to spread with terrifying speed. No time to lose. The cowboy sprang into action, harnessing his fastest horse, alerting ranch hands to prepare firefighting equipment. The girl, instead of retreating, stood resolute by his side, her focus unwavering. Her inherent wisdom, though unarticulated, granted them a crucial head start against the escalating threat, a potential community catastrophe. As they galloped towards the intensifying smoke, the girl's instincts proved invaluable. She pointed out vital shortcuts and subtle wind changes, guiding them with innate understanding, saving precious minutes. Upon reaching the inferno, it was a monstrous blaze, consuming brush and nearing the neighboring ranch's structures. Residents were overwhelmed, yet the cowboy and his crew, forewarned, arrived with a plan. Their actions were swift. They began creating fire breaks, dousing flames, and beating back the fire. The girl moved among them, observing patterns, subtly guiding efforts with precise gestures. Her acute senses identified dangers others missed, acting as a silent strategist. Her unwavering focus remained a beacon of calm, her quiet strength and inspiration. She showed them where efforts would make the biggest difference. The collective effort was immense. Other neighbors joined, forming a human chain, passing buckets, their faces grimed. The immediate happiness from their collaborative spirit was a comfort. The true wealth of their combined determination was palpable. Slowly, they gained ground. The roar of the flames receded. By evening, exhausted but relieved, they had contained the blaze. The main ranch house and barns were saved. The girl stood silently, watching lingering wisps of smoke, her quiet strength resonating. The neighbors looked at her with dawning realization. It was her early warning, her unparalleled intuitive guidance that had made all the critical difference. She hadn't spoken a word, yet she was their silent strategist, their guardian angel. A wave of immense joy and profound gratitude washed over the cowboy as he witnessed the relief on his neighbors' faces, understanding the catastrophe averted. The girl, in her own unique way, had once again proven her immeasurable value to the entire community. This pivotal event etched her deeply into their shared lives, a quiet force of nature, a compelling beacon of unspoken wisdom, irrevocably solidifying her integral place. The embers of the fire were still cooling, but the warmth of gratitude radiated from the neighbors. What had initially been a terrifying ordeal quickly transformed into a profound revelation for the entire community. They had seen the young girl's quick thinking, her intuitive grasp of the land's volatile nature, and her silent courage in the face of immense danger. No longer was she merely the mute girl brought in by the quiet cowboy. She was now a beacon of acute awareness, a testament to a different kind of wisdom. Her actions had spoken louder than any words ever could, saving homes, livestock, and potentially lives. This undeniable act of heroism solidified her place, not just within the boundaries of the cowboy's isolated ranch, but firmly within the fabric of the wider community. There was a newfound respect in their glances, a silent acknowledgement of her profound capabilities. Her quiet presence, once a mystery, now carried an undeniable weight of significance. She moved with a gentle confidence, observing, understanding, and now visibly accepted. For the cowboy, this event was a powerful culmination of their shared journey. He watched as neighbors approached her, not with pity but with genuine appreciation, some even offering small gifts of thanks. A quiet joy settled in his chest, a feeling far more profound than any he had known in his solitary existence. He understood now with absolute clarity that her voice was not absent, it simply manifested in a deeper, more profound way. Her empathy for the land, her keen observations, her innate ability to connect with the very essence of life around them, these were her true articulations. He realized the richness she had brought into his life was immeasurable, a treasure not of gold or silver, but of spirit and connection. His initial act of intervention, driven by a simple sense of decency, had evolved into a sacred trust. He had begun by trying to give her a home, and in return she had gifted him with a purpose he could never have foreseen. He was no longer just a solitary figure drifting through life. He was a guardian of a unique spirit, a silent protector, and a student of a profound, nonverbal wisdom. This realization brought him a deep, abiding sense of happiness, a contentment that resonated to his very core. His life, once so simple and focused on survival, now had a grander design, woven intrinsically with her quiet, powerful existence. He found immense satisfaction in their bond, a silent testament to the idea that the most important connections transcend spoken language. Years, like the relentless desert wind, swept across the Arizona plains, transforming the landscape and the lives within it. The silent girl, once a frightened child, had blossomed into a young woman of profound grace and quiet strength. Her hands, once hesitant, now moved with an assured purpose, tending to the livestock, cultivating the sparse garden that flourished under her attentive care, and organizing the ranch house with an efficiency born of innate wisdom. She didn't just perform chores, she infused life into every corner of their secluded world. The cowboy observed how her unique perspective, her silent and keen observations of nature's rhythms, often led to practical solutions he, with all his years of experience, might have overlooked. There was a quiet harmony about her, a gentle force that brought a subtle richness to their everyday existence. Her presence radiated a quiet influence that permeated beyond the ranch boundaries. The initial curiosity and suspicion from the local community had long since given way to genuine respect and a profound appreciation for her quiet strength and the deep wisdom she possessed. They witnessed her unwavering kindness, her intuitive understanding, and the genuine joy she found in the simple acts of life, whether it was taming a wild horse with a gentle touch or predicting a change in weather that saved crops from an unexpected frost. She had become an integral, invaluable part of their small, rugged society, not through words, but through deeds and an unspoken connection that transcended all barriers. The bond between the cowboy and the young woman deepened with each passing season, evolving into a connection far stronger than mere companionship, a love that was profound in its unspoken depth. They had, against all odds, created an unlikely family, a sanctuary of mutual respect and unwavering care in the heart of the desert. The ranch, once a lonely outpost, now buzzed with a quiet happiness, a sense of belonging that was palpable. She never spoke a word, yet her life resonated with a voice that echoed through the canyons and across the plains, a voice of courage, compassion, and an intuitive grasp of the world that offered a different kind of wealth. Their story became a living testament to the powerful truth that the truest expressions of love and profound understanding often reside not in uttered words, but in shared glances, quiet presence, and the silent language of the heart, proving that even in the deepest silence, true voices can be found and cherished. Years continued to unfurl across the vast Arizona plains, each season etching deeper lines of shared experience into the land and the souls of the cowboy and the young woman. Their life together, once an unforeseen path born of desperate circumstances, had blossomed into a testament to the extraordinary power of unconventional bonds. The ranch, once a solitary abode for a quiet man, now hummed with a different kind of energy, an unspoken language of mutual respect and profound understanding that radiated from the heart of their unique family. She who had once been traded for a sack of flour had not only found a home but had, in her own silent way, become its very foundation, a quiet beacon of wisdom. Her perceptions, honed by years of listening to the wind and observing the natural world with an unparalleled intensity, continued to guide the cowboy, informing decisions about the land, the livestock, and even the subtle rhythms of their neighbors' lives. He in turn had grown immeasurably, shedding layers of his own solitude to embrace a richness of spirit he had never imagined possible. This wealth was not of silver or gold, but of an enduring happiness found in simple moments, the way her hand gently calmed a skittish horse, the intricate patterns she still created with river stones, or the silent, knowing glance they exchanged across a sun-drenched field. Her nonverbal communication had evolved into a sophisticated dance of intuition and empathy, allowing her to connect with people on a level that often bypassed the complexities of spoken words, fostering a deeper, more genuine understanding. The community, which had first observed with a mix of curiosity and skepticism, now openly acknowledged her remarkable gifts. She was sought out not for counsel in words but for the clarity of her silent presence, for her ability to perceive truths others missed. Her profound connection to the land became a shared resource, especially during lean times or unexpected challenges, demonstrating a practical wisdom that often saved the day. The ranch prospered not through aggressive expansion but through harmonious living, guided by her intuitive knowledge. The true joy of their existence lay in this quiet synergy, a vibrant testament to the fact that the most powerful voices are not always the loudest, but often the ones that speak directly to the soul, teaching everyone that empathy and understanding are the most precious commodities. The years continued to unfold, painting new layers onto the canvas of their desert lives, each season bringing a deeper understanding of the unique bond that had formed on the remote ranch. The young woman, once a silent child traded for a sack of flour, had blossomed into the very heart of their existence, her presence a constant, gentle current shaping everything around them. Her intuitive insights into nature had not only persisted but had deepened, becoming an innate wisdom that guided their daily choices. She understood the shifting winds, the subtle signs of the seasons, and the unspoken needs of the animals with a profound clarity no words could articulate. This quiet understanding was a source of immense wealth to the cowboy, not in gold or silver, but in the invaluable knowledge that protected their ranch, ensuring its prosperity and harmony. He often found himself relying on her silent cues, on the direction of her gaze or the simple placement of her hands, to make decisions that inevitably proved correct, a silent partnership that cultivated their shared world. Their shared life was a testament to a different kind of happiness, one built not on societal expectations or material possessions, but on mutual respect, deep affection, and a quiet appreciation for the small, precious moments. The ranch, once a solitary man's domain, now resonated with a gentle energy, a sense of belonging that extended beyond its human inhabitants. Animals seemed drawn to her serene presence, and children from neighboring ranches were captivated by her, finding delight in her unique ways. She taught them not with words but by simply being, demonstrating the interconnectedness of all living things through her patient observation and innate respect for life. The community, once bewildered, now felt a quiet reverence. They recognized the extraordinary gift she possessed, seeing beyond her silence to the powerful spirit within. Contributions extended beyond the ranch, subtly impacting the wider community. When a rare drought threatened water sources, it was her keen eye, her connection to the land, that pointed them towards a hidden spring, averting potential disaster. In moments of communal hardship or joy, her presence was a comforting anchor. She communicated through her thoughtful actions, her empathetic gestures, and the profound depth of her gaze. The cowboy, watching her interact, felt a surge of profound contentment. He had set out to rescue a child, but in doing so he had found his own purpose, his own true north. Their lives, interwoven by fate and strengthened by unwavering love, became a quiet beacon in the vast Arizona landscape, a living embodiment of the fact that the most profound connections are often forged in silence, revealing a richness of spirit that conventional understanding often misses. Her silent voice had grown into a chorus of love, wisdom, and enduring happiness that echoed through the very fabric of their world. The ranch, once merely a solitary outpost, had profoundly transformed under the young woman's quiet yet powerful influence, blossoming into a vibrant center of life. Her gentle, undeniable presence brought a deep and abiding sense of happiness that permeated every aspect of their shared existence. She continued to be the unerring compass for their days, her innate connection to the vast, untamed landscape guiding their decisions with an accuracy that defied verbal explanation. Her silent wisdom, honed by years of keen observation and an intuitive understanding of nature's subtle cues, proved an invaluable asset. This quiet insight often led them to hidden water sources during droughts or prepared them for sudden, harsh weather, securing their prosperity in ways conventional knowledge never could. The local community, initially bewildered, now routinely sought her counsel. Her thoughtful gaze or a simple, deliberate gesture often conveyed more profound guidance than any lengthy discourse, demonstrating a form of communication that transcended spoken words. The cowboy, his face etched with the wisdom of passing years, frequently reflected on the true meaning of wealth. He understood that his greatest riches lay not in land or livestock, but in the unparalleled depth of the unspoken bond he shared with this extraordinary woman. Their improbable life together was a living testament to a different kind of prosperity, measured in an abundance of peace, mutual respect, and an overflowing sense of joy. She found unadulterated delight in the simplest of moments, the fleeting beauty of a desert bloom, the graceful arc of a hawk against the boundless sky, the quiet symphony of the wind at dusk. Her remarkable capacity to unearth beauty and meaning in the ordinary was infectious, gently teaching everyone to cherish the silent gifts the world offered. Her enduring legacy was not sculpted by grand pronouncements, but by the quiet power of her character and the immeasurable positive impact she continued to have on every life she touched. She remained the living embodiment of a voice discovered not in sound, but in the very essence of the wind itself, a potent, gentle whisper that persistently redefined and enriched their shared world, echoing boundless wisdom for all to perceive. Years had gracefully unfurled across the Arizona landscape, deepening the roots of the ranch and the lives intertwined within. The young woman whose journey began with an unthinkable exchange had blossomed into the very soul of the land, a testament to quiet resilience and profound intuition. Her presence, once an enigma, now radiated deep admiration and respect within the community, embodying strength born from vulnerability. The cowboy, his solitary existence immeasurably enriched, found his every day infused with unexpected happiness. Their bond, woven with shared silence and unwavering understanding, matured into a language more potent than any spoken word. He observed her still, with enduring reverence, as she moved through their world. Her actions carried silent grace and an innate connection to nature. Her early sand drawings had evolved into an extraordinary ability to perceive the Earth's subtle pulse, predicting weather and understanding land needs with uncanny accuracy. This intuitive wisdom, cultivated through years, became the bedrock of their thriving ranch. It guided decisions, fostering prosperity and harmonious coexistence with the wilderness. The ranch stood as a beacon, showing how understanding of nature led to genuine abundance. The true wealth they garnered was not measured in coin or herds. It lay instead in the quiet contentment of a life authentically lived, in the profound joy that resonated from their shared purpose, and in the deep satisfaction of their unique partnership. Her silent communication, once a limitation, transformed into a powerful conduit for empathy, inviting others to listen with their hearts. She taught the community that listening extended beyond verbal exchange, that true wisdom often resided in unspoken nuances. Their home, though modest, vibrated with a palpable happiness, a testament to the rich, unconventional life they built. The cowboy, a man of few words, found his deepest truths mirrored in her silence. He realized his greatest strength lay not in command, but in humble observation and the profound acceptance of a love that needed no words. He had discovered a wealth of spirit, a joy that transcended the material, and a wisdom that redefined his world. Their legacy was not just a successful ranch, but a living example of how profound connections blossom in quiet spaces. The ranch flourished, not merely in its sprawling lands and thriving herds, but in the profound spirit that permeated every corner of their shared existence. The young woman, her presence a quiet yet powerful force, continued to navigate their days with an intuitive wisdom that transcended any need for spoken communication. Her deep, inherent connection to the land, which had once been a vital survival instinct, had blossomed into an extraordinary understanding of life's intricate, delicate balance. The cowboy, years having etched lines of experience upon his face, now carried a deep sense of peacefulness in his gaze, a testament to the immense happiness he had discovered alongside her. Their unconventional family, forged not by typical blood ties but by a shared appreciation for silence and a profound mutual respect, radiated a unique warmth across the vast Arizona landscape. Neighbors, who had initially observed their unusual bond with cautious curiosity, now frequently sought her quiet guidance, drawn by the serene joy that emanated from their home. They had come to understand that true wealth was not measured in material possessions or gleaming gold, but in the immeasurable richness of shared, heartfelt moments, the subtle, profound lessons whispered by the rustling leaves, and the deep, abiding peace that settled gently upon anyone fortunate enough to spend time in her presence. The ranch, thriving beautifully under her gentle, intuitive influence, stood as a living testament to the power of a life lived authentically and true to its own rhythm. A place where wisdom wasn't vocally declared but simply was, a palpable energy. Children from nearby homesteads, sensing her patient and understanding nature, often gravitated towards their home, eager to learn the silent language of the natural world through her watchful, knowing eyes. She would patiently show them how to interpret the shifting patterns of the clouds, how to discern the subtle whispers of the wind as it moved through the canyons, and how to uncover profound beauty in the most unassuming stone. These quiet interactions thoughtfully sowed seeds of understanding, empathy, and a deep appreciation for the world, seeds that would undoubtedly grow and flourish for generations to come. The cowboy himself would frequently sit on the porch at dusk, watching her move gracefully through the small, well-tended garden, a quiet sense of profound joy swelling in his heart. He knew, with absolute certainty, that his initial act of profound kindness had not only saved a precious life, but had in turn guided him towards a far deeper understanding of what it truly meant to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. It was a powerful, silent affirmation that the most profound wisdom often emerges not from noise or clamor, but from the quietude of deep connection and understanding, a beautiful, silent testament to enduring happiness and an immeasurable spiritual wealth. Their life together unfolded as a quiet, living poem, thoughtfully written in the daily, rhythmic pulse of the land, a compelling story of an unconventional family discovering boundless joy and forging an enduring legacy through the silent strength of unwavering love and profound mutual comprehension. The years had woven a tapestry of quiet contentment across the sprawling landscape of their Arizona ranch, each thread a testament to the improbable union that had taken root so many seasons ago. The young woman, her presence now a vibrant and indispensable force, moved with a grace born of deep understanding, her every action imbued with a knowing wisdom that surpassed the need for words. The cowboy, no longer just a solitary figure, found a profound happiness in their shared life, a richness that extended far beyond the dust and the heat of the land. It was a richness of spirit, of purpose, of an unspoken language understood only by them, yet deeply felt by all who witnessed their profound connection. Their days unfolded with a rhythmic calm, guided by the sun's arc and the whispers of the wind that had once held the secret of her voice. She continued to communicate not with sounds, but with the eloquent gestures of her hands, the knowing look in her dark eyes, and the intricate patterns she still wove from natural elements, stones, branches, desert blooms, each a silent narrative of the world as she perceived it. These creations, once mere expressions of her inner world, had become a source of quiet admiration in the scattered community, seen as insights into the shifting moods of the land. Neighbors, having long shed their initial apprehension, now approached the ranch not with suspicion, but with a burgeoning respect, seeking advice from the silent woman who seemed to possess an ancient wisdom, an intrinsic understanding of life's intricate balance. Her joy was palpable in the way she greeted the sunrise, in the gentle touch she bestowed upon a newborn calf, in the quiet laughter that sometimes escaped her as she observed the playful antics of a desert fox. It was a pure, unadulterated joy that spread through the very air around her, touching the cowboy's own hardened heart and softening the edges of his world. Their ranch, once a place of stark solitude, had transformed into a haven of deep peace and quiet prosperity, built not on grand pronouncements or ambitious schemes, but on the solid foundation of mutual respect, unwavering trust, and a love that needed no articulation. It was a living testament to the truth that the most profound expressions of life's beauty often reside in the silence, in the unseen forces that bind hearts and spirits together, creating a tapestry of shared existence that was, in its own unique way, the richest treasure of all. The cowboy, looking out at the sun-drenched expanse, knew with a certainty that settled deep in his bones that he had not merely saved a life that day, but had in turn been given a life of immeasurable meaning, a profound happiness that echoed the quiet strength and endless wisdom of the woman beside him. O sol erguisi sobre paisagem do Arizona, pintando a vasta extensão com tons de oro e ambar, tal como havia feito emincantáveis manhas, mas para improvável família quali se enrezo, cada aurora trazia sentido renovado de propósito e de contentamento sereno. A jovem mulher agarrou uma figura de profunda graça e poder discreto, movia-se pela fazenda como conhecimento inato, a seus passos leave sabra terra quasi tornara a sua mais verdadera confident. Anos tinem-se entrelaçado na própria estrutura de sua existência, desde aquela troca desesperada, transformando uma transação de desespero numa base de amor e compreensão duradouros. O cowboy como rosto marcado pelas linhas do tempo e da experiência, observava-a como uma reverência que se aprofundava cada estação que passava, reconhecendo a imensurável felicidade que ela trouxera para o seu mundo outdoor solitário. A sua vida partilhada era testemunho de uma conexão que transcendia a linguagem falada, uma sinfonia silenciosa tocada em olhares partilhados, ações intuitivas e respeito mútuo que é mais fundo do que as palavras poderiam alguma vez expressar. E fazenda, outrora posto solitário, agora prosperava sob a sua guarda combinada. Era tipo peculiar de riqueza que cultivavam ali, now medidem ou ou prada, mas na vitalidade de terra, na só dos seus animais e na riqueza de suas experiências partilhadas. A sua percepção única, a sua estranha capacidade de ler aos sinais subtis de natureza, continuava a ser dom inestimável. Quer faz prever mudanças no tempo, ganhar a plantação de culturas para rendimento ótimo, ou simplesmente encontrar o bezerro perdido que se afastara demasiado, a sua sabedoria tranquila era o motor silencioso de sua prosperidade. Esta não era a alegria alta e ruidosa encontrada nas celebrações, mas uma corrente profunda e constante de contentamento que fluía pelos seus dias, nascida de harmonia como o seu ambiente e de laço inabalável entre eles. A comunidade, hamuido tempo tendo superado o ceticismo inicial, agarrava para ela como uma admiração silenciosa, reconhecendo a força tranquila e a profunda perspicácia que ela oferecia. Ela era uma personificação viva da própria tenacidade silenciosa da terra, uma guardia de conhecimento antigo que resova como a própria alma do deserto, e sua arte, aos simples arranjos de pedras e galhos que criava, evoluíra de expresso pessoal para narrativas silenciosas que falavam volumes aqueles que aprendiam a ouvir como aos seus corações. Estas esculturas naturais pontilhavam a paisagem ao redor da fazenda, guardios silenciosos que parecem refletir a beleza e a resiliência da própria vida. Contavam histórias de estaços, de desafios superados e de profunda interconexão de todas as coisas. O cowboy que outrora procurara apenas a solidão, encontrava agora sua maior felicidade nesta existência partilhada, na maravilha que se desdobrava de uma vida construída na confiança e numa compreensão que dispensava a necessidade de som. Tinham criado santuário, não apenas para si próprias, mas para o próprio espírito de resiliência tranquila e de amor profundo e duradouro. A própria terra persegue a sua paz, respirando como o ritmo do seu laço inaudito, testemunho de profunda riqueza encontrada no reconhecimento e nutrição de verdadeira voz do coração, uma voz que sempre ali estivera, esperando ser ouvida no vento. O silêncio que outrora definia, agora definia sua profunda sabedoria e a profunda alegria de sua improvável, mas perfida família. The Arizona sun continued its timeless journey, casting familiar shadows over the ranch, now the vibrant heart of a unique family. Years had woven themselves into their lives since the young Apache woman had arrived, a silent child once traded for flower. Now she moved with an innate grace, her presence a silent testament to a profound evolution. The cowboy, profoundly shaped by her quiet strength, often watched her, a deep sense of happiness swelling in his chest. This contentment, a quiet understanding of true wealth, transcended the material. Their days unfolded with a rhythmic calm, punctuated by the natural world they so deeply respected. She communicated not with words, but with intuition, observation, and an unwavering connection to the earth. Her wisdom, refined by years of silent contemplation, permeated their shared existence. When a calf fell ill, her gentle touch and a gesture towards a specific herb guided the cowboy to its remedy. When the well began to run low, her sensing of subtle changes in the wind and desert creatures led them to a hidden spring, ensuring their survival. The community now sought her quiet counsel. They came for the profound calm and clarity she exuded. Farmers found solutions observing her interaction with the land. Ranchers found peace in her silent presence, their thoughts clarifying. Her silence amplified the inner voice within others, guiding them to their own wisdom. The ranch thrived from hard work and the harmonious balance she brought. Palpable joy filled their lives, a quiet exhilaration from authentic living, respecting nature's cycles and their deep, unspoken bond. They understood true prosperity resided in rich relationships, healthy land, and serene contentment. This wealth, a treasure woven from shared experiences and mutual respect, could not be bought. Her simple patterns of stones and branches evolved, becoming intricate, telling stories of their lives and the land's spirit. These silent narratives were understood by those who looked, those who learned to listen with their hearts. The cowboy, once solitary, now found himself part of something larger and more meaningful. His purpose expanded, his world deepened. He learned from her that profound expressions came without sound, great truths resided in the unspoken. He understood her silence was a powerful presence, a conduit for insight. Their improbable family became a beacon, a quiet testament to resilience, unconditional love, and the possibilities emerging from embracing difference. Their happiness was a deep, abiding warmth, a quiet melody echoing the desert wind and the land's spirit. This was a life of true wealth, brimming with joy and guided by an ancient wisdom resonating beyond their isolated ranch. Many more years had woven themselves into the fabric of the Arizona landscape since the once mute Apache girl found an unlikely family and a profound place in the world. She had blossomed into a woman whose silent presence was a deep well of wisdom, shaping the very rhythm of life on the ranch and beyond. Her movements carried an innate grace, her connection to the earth intensifying with each passing season, a living testament to a profound understanding that transcended spoken words. The cowboy, now weathered by time but filled with a serene contentment, often observed her, a quiet happiness radiating from within him. He had initially offered a helping hand, never imagining he would discover such a profound source of joy and purpose in his own life. Their home, though modest, was rich with a unique kind of wealth, not of material possessions, but of an unspoken love and a shared existence that defied conventional understanding. Her intuitive grasp of the land, her remarkable foresight regarding weather patterns, and her gentle, almost magical touch with the animals had become legendary throughout the scattered community. Where once curiosity or suspicion might have lingered, there was now an undeniable and widespread respect for her extraordinary capabilities. Neighbors, initially drawn by the unusual circumstances, now sought her quiet counsel, recognizing a rare wisdom that resonated far beyond the absence of verbal communication. They spoke of the quiet strength she exuded, the palpable sense of peace she brought to any situation, and the transformative impact she had on every life she touched. This was the truest form of happiness, a joy born not from external circumstances, but from a deep, internal harmony. She had, in her unique way, taught them all to listen with their hearts, to value perspectives beyond the obvious, and to recognize that the most profound insights often arrive in the deepest silence. Her legacy was not in tales spun with words, but in the enduring spirit of compassion, understanding, and the quiet power of a life lived fully and authentically. The cowboy understood that his greatest wealth was not in his land or his herd, but in the silent, powerful woman by his side, whose wisdom had guided them all to an unexpected, beautiful future. Years had passed since the young woman, once a silent child, had found her true voice not in words, but in the rhythm of the land and the community she helped shape. The cowboy, etched with time, watched with quiet pride as the ranch, once a lonely outpost, thrived under their vision. Their partnership was a testament to love transcending words, a deep understanding forged in shared hardship and silent triumphs. The fields yielded abundance, a true wealth measured not in coins, but in the vibrant life supported. She remained the ranch's silent guardian, her intuitive wisdom guiding decisions on crops, livestock, and subtle weather shifts that could make or break a season. Visitors often remarked on the palpable happiness permeating the air, a serene calm stemming from her profound connection to earth and unshakable inner peace. She taught, without a syllable, lessons of patience, resilience, and the profound beauty of observation. Children from neighboring ranches gathered, drawn by her presence, learning from her silent gestures how to tend wounded animals or identify edible plants. Her intricate artwork adorned their home and graced local establishments, each piece a silent narrative of the desert's soul. The joy she found in simple moments, a sunrise, a calf's birth, a child's laughter, was infectious, spreading through the community like spring's gentle warmth. They had built more than a home, they cultivated a life rich in meaning and purpose. The cowboy often reflected that in rescuing her, he had been rescued himself, discovering a profound wealth of spirit he never knew. Their journey was a living testament to unconventional bonds, proving true communication stemmed not from the tongue, but from the heart, and that deepest wisdom often resided in quiet souls. The ranch, a beacon of prosperity and understanding, stood as a monument to their enduring legacy, a place where the wind still carried stories, now, of love, growth, and the silent, powerful voice of a woman who taught a community to truly listen. Her silent presence continued to enrich every life it touched, a boundless source of peace and profound joy. The sun had completed countless cycles since the young woman, once a silent girl, first found her home on the sprawling ranch. The cowboy, now a man whose hair was dusted with the snow of many winters, watched her with an enduring reverence that time had only deepened. Her presence, a quiet force, had molded not just the land around them, but the very fabric of their existence. The ranch thrived not just from hard work, but from the intuitive wisdom she imparted to its rhythms. She moved through the landscape with a grace that spoke volumes, her understanding of the subtle shifts in weather, the needs of the animals, and the pulse of the earth being uncanny. This deep, unspoken wisdom was their greatest asset, a wellspring of insight that guided their decisions, ensuring the health of their crops and the well-being of their livestock. The genuine happiness that permeated their home was a testament to a life built on profound mutual understanding, a silent symphony of two souls entirely attuned. This was a unique kind of wealth, one measured not in gold but in the profound joy of shared purpose and the deep contentment of a life lived in harmony with nature and each other. The community, which had once eyed her with curiosity, now sought her quiet counsel, recognizing the clear-eyed intelligence in her gaze and the undeniable truth in her actions. Her silent language of observation and connection had taught them all that true insight often lay beyond spoken words. She continued to create her intricate patterns with stones and branches, each arrangement a story, a lesson, a piece of her unique wisdom laid bare for those who had learned to truly see. Their shared life was a beautiful tapestry woven from patience, love, and the profound realization that the most impactful voices are sometimes those that are felt rather than heard, bringing an immeasurable richness to their world. Years continued to unfold across the vast Arizona landscape, marking the steady progress of a life cultivated not by spoken words, but by the quiet symphony of understanding. The young woman whose voice once seemed lost had, by chapter 22, woven herself irrevocably into the very fabric of the ranch and its connected lives. Her presence, a beacon of silent wisdom, had only deepened, radiating a profound sense of happiness palpable to anyone near her. The cowboy, now a man etched with shared years and quiet contentment, found his purpose affirmed in her presence. Their unique partnership, forged in desperation and nurtured by patience, had become a testament to the unexpected ways true connection can blossom. The ranch itself, once a solitary outpost, now hummed with a different vibrancy, born not of loud activity but inherent harmony. It was a place where intuitive knowing often superseded verbal instruction, where nature's subtle cues were read and respected. The young woman, with her innate connection to the land, had become its silent guardian, her keen observations guiding decisions on planting, harvesting, and even weather shifts. Her quiet intelligence was a form of wealth more precious than gold, consistently yielding not just sustenance but resilience and foresight. Neighbors, initially skeptical, now sought her silent counsel, valuing insights drawn from a lifetime of careful watching and intuition. They had learned to interpret her gestures, her glances, and the simple, eloquent patterns she still created with stones and natural elements, each a silent story or profound advice. The joy that permeated their home was a quiet, steady flame, fueled by mutual respect and deep, unspoken love. It wasn't boisterous celebration, but serene contentment found in shared silence, in the knowing look, in the simple act of existing together in harmony with the natural world. She had taught the cowboy and the community that true communication resided not just in sounds, but in empathy, observation, and the unspoken language of the heart. Her life was a living example of profound wisdom, demonstrating that clarity and understanding could be achieved without uttering a single word. She had shown them that listening involved more than ears, and speaking could be done through every fiber of one's being. Challenges were met with calm fortitude, born of her quiet strength and his steadfast support, a reflection of the deep roots their improbable family had laid in the Arizona soil. Sunrises brought renewed gratitude for the unconventional path they had walked, a path that had led them to a richness of spirit few experienced.